Hi guys, Skypoint here. Today's video is about one of the lesser used warlords in the game, Remus Ventanus of the Ultramarines. Now, I had originally tried to play Remus Ventanus in the event where he was released, and then a little bit on the ladder when I collected his card. And at the time, my conclusion was that he was not very good at all and not fun to play as. But recently on the Discord server, one of the experienced players of the game, Crow Le Croiset, had been strongly advocating playing Remus, and one of my lodge mates, Guilliman312, had started doing that, and he found it was actually quite playable and very fun, and he passed along this deck build to me. Let's take a look at the cards for Remus that seem to just work out well. Alright, so here's the deck, and the first thing you'll notice is that there are not a lot of duplicate cards in here, and that really goes against my usual deck building philosophy. I'm normally a very strong advocate of filling your deck with as many duplicates as possible because that makes it work reliably. So you have a relatively high chance of drawing any particular card. This deck has a lot of single cards in it, and what that means is that it is less reliable to be able to handle any one situation, but it can actually react to a broad number of different situations. As I said, that goes against what I usually like to see in a deck, but for some reason this one just works. Alright, let's just run through what we have over here, beginning with the Warlord, Remus Ventanus, who's a really interesting guy because he's got a broad blend of abilities. Let's start with his energy ability. Deal 2 damage for 2 energy to the enemy warlord only. You can't choose who receives that damage. That is sort of like the ability that Captain Erlin has from the World Eaters, except not quite as good. Erlin spends 2 energy to deal 3 points of damage to the enemy warlord. But Remus's ability can also be used defensively. If you target yourself, you'll give your warlord Survivor 1. That means this ability can be defensive as well, giving you a little bit of health, but it's twice as good at damaging your enemy than it is at giving you Survivor 1. Meaning that you can either spend 2 energy to increase the gap between your health and the enemy by 2 by damaging the enemy, or increase the gap by 1 by giving yourself Survivor. I usually find that what works best is using his ability either, usually about once a game on yourself, maybe more if there's nothing else to do with your energy, because it just stops you from being easily nuked from high health to losing the match. Now, the other side of his ability though is, unlike Erlin, he also has a Battle Honor ability. So if he attacks a unit and kills it, then you get to create an Ultramarines Practical Tactic card in your hand, which can be very useful too. The final thing to note about him is, unlike Erlin, Remus Ventanus only has medium initiative, not high, so you don't have as good a chance of being the player to go first. Okay, let's take a look at the cards we have. First up, we have Command Bridge. So this deck is quite tactic heavy. You'll notice we've got 13 tactics in total, and Command Bridge will help you in a turn where you've got a little bit of leftover energy to look through your remaining tactics and try and pull a useful one into your hand. We also have Manius Recon Squad at 1 energy, another useful way of spending those little odd bits of energy you've got left. Retribution Strike is there for damage and card draw. Logos Lectora is one of the best cards in the game because it can either be used as an effective card draw because it basically pays for itself because it reduces the cost of the Space Marine it draws by 2, or if you already have plenty of troops on the board, you can actually give them a handy buff with this. So it's a very flexible, very powerful card. Ambassador Melgator will bounce things back to the enemy hand, or even back to your hand if needed. Abandoned Supplies more card draw, and you'll see why we have so much card draw in a moment. Defensible Position is another very flexible card. You can either use it to stun an enemy or boost one of your own frontline troops. Because of the amount of hard removal in this game, usually stunning an enemy is better. A pair of Belarius squads because they're kind of useful. Jubak Starsight is there for generating more cards for you, as well as being a threat the enemy cannot ignore. High Alpha 52 combines healing for you as well as unstunning. Supply lines. So this deck has 2 vehicles in there, and both of them can be made very effective if you draw them early. Ekra Trez for more healing. Informant Network is the first of the anti-stealth cards we have. Adaptable Tactics. Most likely it's going to be used for healing your warlord, although it can play a useful role if played on one of your troops. Captain Alcaeus is a great legendary, very efficient stats for his cost, as well as a useful ability. Trajan Squad, very useful troop. It's normally used for just dealing 5 damage to the enemy. Honor Guard, very powerful frontline. Myatis Cruiser, again a very flexible card. You can use it either to hit the enemy warlord very hard, or start to take care of some of the troublesome troops. Manifest Destiny is essentially to heal your warlord, well, by giving him Survivor. Skitarii Protector combines anti-stealth with frontline, so this is one of the 2 anti-stealth, arguably 3 anti-stealth cards in the deck. Captain Corvo, again, super flexible. You can either, you usually want to try to use him for healing, but in a pinch he can finish off some tricky damaged enemy troops. Whirlwind Scorpius, one of the 2 vehicles in your deck, and the final one of the anti-stealth cards that we have over here. Captain Mysander is not a card I often use in Ultramarines, but I've learned to really appreciate him with this deck. Bakrag's Honor, this is why we're trying to hunt through our deck so much. You want this card, and you ideally want to use it as part of a finishing combo on the enemy. Stellok Aethin is to help deal with tough troops. Arguably he's anti-stealth as well if the enemy only has 1 stealth unit or only has stealth to units. And the final one, Ancient Marcellus, a very dangerous vehicle. It has been nerfed since being introduced, but it's still a real threat the enemy will struggle to deal with. Just finally, you can see the energy curve here. It's pretty biased towards the early part of the towards low energy values rather, and that's so that you can keep having energy to use Remus's ability in later turns. Alright, so that's the deck. Now let's start taking a look at Remus Ventanus versus the Primarchs of Low Terra. We start with a fight against Kabandha, the legendary or Primarch equivalent of the Demons of the Ruined Storm. I was actually happy with this opening hand. I've got things to play in turn 1, which he'll probably have to attack with his warlord instead of going after me. In turn 2, as well as hopefully stuff being a good legendary to play in the mid part of the game. So I did start with the initiative this time, which was lucky, and I drew Logos Lectora, but for now I'm just going to drop that recon squad, and I'm hoping that he goes for that instead of me. Perfect. It comes back to my turn. There's nothing to play Belarius squad on, so I'm just going to use Logos Lectora. I did draw Captain Alcaeus, which was lucky, and I did not want to hit Kabandha. He drops a pair of Demonettes which go into stealth, but luckily I have Belarius squad now. So I'm going to play Belarius squad, and they'll damage a random enemy troop, which is the 1 troop which he has, and they're gone. He hits Belarius squad now, and this is good because I've gone from being 5 points behind him on health to 2 points behind. But of course now he brings out a tricky troop there. Alright, I'm going to use supply lines because I want to get some of those powerful vehicles out, and I got Ancient Marcellus. Great, I can play him in 2 turns. And let's drop my tough little troop guy there. This guy is doing some healing. Ugh, look at that. He's got some tough looking units over there. Alright. His Demon Brute has extra health and poisonous. Let's bring in Captain Corvo to damage that guy. We're going to use the other legendary to take out the Demon Brutes. And let him heal away. I think I'll catch up in time. Yeah, alright, this is good. So I am quite far behind him on health. Now I've gone from being 2 points behind to 20 points. But I have a couple of great units coming up. Let's start with Ancient Marcellus, who can take out his front line. Nice. Next, I can use use my Warlord to kill the unit, which gives me a practical, and use Captain Corvo to attack Kabandha. So I've gone from being 12 points behind to 10 points behind, but have some nice tough units out here. Okay, he hits Captain Corvo, so now he's only 5 points behind. Perfection. Alright, let's use Opening Salvo to damage that frontline troop. Next, we're going to drop the Myatis Cruiser on the damaged troop to destroy it. There we go. And that means I can just attack Kabandha with my Dreadnought. And now I have the lead in health. He brings in Ula, the Doom of Heroes. Interesting. So, to that, I'm just going to shoot him. And then use my Warlord ability on him. And drop Manifest Destiny for some bonus health. I don't want to leave anything on the board which can go down to 4 health, because he can then use Ula on that to kill it. And I lucked out there. He did not get the mutation which gives yeah, oh, never mind. The mutation which gave flank. If he got that, he might have been able to kill Ula. Sorry, he might have been able to use Ula to kill the Dreadnought. But at any rate, he didn't get the mutation he wanted, and because he's got Berserk, he knew he was going to die next turn, because he had to attack, which would have moved his health into the danger zone. Alright, we are next up against Angron, although the name is Magnus the Reddest, but here we go. Angron is everyone's favorite warlord to face, of course. I joke. Now I'm going to be putting away Ambassador Melgator, and I'm going to be keeping the rest. Melgator is usually not that useful against Angron, so this makes me feel a little bit better. Okay, I started with the initiative because we're both medium initiative, so we had equal chances of going first. Use my ability, damage him a little bit. Next, he pulls out Void Engagement and hits me. And attacks me directly.
It is easier to forgive an enemy.
Alright, I am 6 points of health behind him. Started 5 points behind. Let's use Logos Lectora to draw a card. Nice. Good cheap unit there.
Hold your tongue.
He's pulling out a Void Engagement, and that's going to do more damage to me, of course, because Angrons tend to be tactic heavy. And he hits me. Alright, I'm 9 points behind him. Let's bring in Ekratres and leave it at that. And he plays O's, rats. That is not so good. Okay, in order to deal with Wrath, we'll use Myatis Cruiser, which is going to jam him first and then damage him, so that I don't have to deal with the 4 attack, 4 health unit that he creates whenever he takes damage. Mortar Strike. Okay, it hits me. I would have been happier if it actually hit Ekratres. He's beating me down hard now. 16-point gap between us. Let's bring in Honor Guard for a bit of protection and heal myself with Ekra. So close that to a 13-point gap between us, and I've got some front lines in place. Okay, looks like he didn't have Breach, so he had to attack that guy. Electicio Divinatus. And what's coming next? No survivors. I knew it. Okay, so that will hit me pretty hard. Let's go ahead and play Stellok Aethin right now just to give him a threat. I want Stellok to be played before he can use the Conqueror.
Theoretical. Your surrender.
So is he going for me? I think he's going to go for me. He's boosting its attack. No, he's going for Stellok. Interesting. Does he have the 1 point of damage card? He does. Okay. So he burned one of his speeders and his 1 point damage card on Stellok at least. So there was that going for it. Captain Lysander now hits the board. Oh, Manifest Destiny. So I'm now effectively 20 points behind him. And he pulls supply lines, so that's probably getting a cheap speeder for him. And he attacks me, so 12 points of health left. He effectively has 28 points of health left. Alright, let's use Adaptable Tactics to try and heal up a little bit there. Drop Dewback Starsight to start copying some cards. And use my ability to do some damage and close the gap. Alright, so I'm on 16 points of health right now. He's effectively 20 points. So I've closed up that gap between us quite a lot. Another speeder he uses to finish off the captain. And he takes out Dewback, and now he's only 2 points of health ahead of me. But look at what he drops. Ugh. Alright, now I could Melgator him back into his hand, but we're going to take this guy out right now. 2 points of damage from Belaria's squad. 2 more points from Retribution Strike. And 1 more Retribution Strike to finish that guy off. And that leaves me with 3 points of energy left, so all I'm going to do is play supply lines and draw a discounted vehicle. And I'm going to get the Whirlwind Scorpius. Okay, that's not bad here. Okay, he's continuing to just take out my troops. So I am technically in the lead on health, but now he's bringing in some dreadnoughts. Alright, let's do this. We're going to drop a frontline troop and put the Scorpius tank behind it. So he goes ahead, takes out my front line. Attacks me. Now that he has troops, of course, Angron's attack is just 2. Alright, what do we do here? Use his ability. That's going to damage everything on the board. Now I've got to be careful because I don't want Angron to trigger. Let's use Informant Network to damage everything. Again. Alright. And use my ability to give myself Survivor 1. Because if I had used it to attack him, if he hit me, then he'd be on 1 health left, and then he could trigger his demon form. Just trying to make it as hard as possible for him to enter his demon form. Alright, so then he goes ahead and hits me. So now I'm on effectively 8 points of health, he has 10 points of health, so I'm behind. Let's bring in Ancient Marcellus, that cuts him down to 3. Well, 7 points of health rather. Okay. He uses the Conqueror to wipe the board. And then, is he about to continue to hit me? Yeah, he does. Alright, so now we're each on about 5 points of health. Let's go ahead now and use Manifest Destiny. So that is going to give me more Survivor. We're going to stun him. And then we're also going to use my ability to cut him down to 3 health. So unless he has a way of doing 2 points of damage to himself, he is not going to be turning into his demon form. He hits me with a Mortar Strike. And, oh man, Armor of Mars, he heals himself up some more. Alright. And then I pull out Macragge's Honor, and that's it for him. So, here's what we do. We use a Breach to cut him down to 8 health. We then attack him directly to cut him to 6 health, leaving me on 3 health. And lastly, we nuke him with Macragge's Honor. There we go. And that's bye-bye to Angron. So the next one is actually against Magnus the Red. So starting off, I do have the initiative, so I'm going to be putting away my expensive Captain Lysander and bring in Trajan Squad. Alright, turn 1, we're going to play Abandoned Supplies. That pulls out a discount Ekra Trez, which is great, and attack it. He is going to attack me. Usually early game Magnus players don't mind taking damage because you get closer and closer to triggering your ability. Alright, triggering his Shard of Magnus ability, I mean. Let's drop Ekra Trez and give myself Survivor. He's using City of Light, so he's going to be trying to build up a big pool of psychic energy, so I'm going to have to try and make sure I've got threatening troops on him. Okay, let's bring in Jubak Starsight and attack him and use Ekra Trez to start healing me up a little. So now I'm technically only 1 point of health behind him once you factor in Survivor. Copied a card, unfortunately it was a psychic power, so it just becomes a Forbidden Lore card, which is 1 energy to draw a card. Alright, he's really trying to get rid of Jubak over there. So I'm just going to drop Bellaria Squad to build up a board presence, then buff everyone and attack him. He's probably going to get a fair bit of healing off with Ekra Trez, unfortunately. Don't think there's anything I can do about that. He drops a defense satellite strike, but it's pretty awful. Doesn't do much for him. So let's go ahead and keep the damage coming on him. Use Defensible Position to stun him as well, because I don't want him using his psychic energy to deal 1 point of damage and finishing Bellaria Squad off. Let's use that Forbidden Lore of mine. That pulls out Honor Guard, not bad. Just keep attacking him. Okay, he's hunting for cards. I think I know what that means, but we'll see. Oh, Astral Warfare. Okay, good. With his Warlord being stunned, he blew a ton of psychic energy on Astral Warfare. Oh, and then he could have unstunned himself and just used his ability earlier. Not the best decision, but we'll see. Okay, we're going to bring in Honor Guard for some big bonuses. There we go. Nice. Retribution Strike on the Pi Alpha. And that draws a card out of my deck. And let's just attack Magnus. Make him feel pressured. Ashen Blows. That's one of his 2 Ashen Blows, unless he has the Book of Magnus. Uh-ohs. Athame. I think I know what that means. Usually only one reason why Magnus packs the Athame. Alright, well, let's see here. Let's drop Bellaria Squad to finish off Ekra Trez, so bye-bye to him. And we're going to bring in Skitarii Protector to hold the line. Alright, let's see what happens now. Is it what I fear? Oh god, of course. Izzarkar Ore gives him precognition. He bounces Izzarkar Ore back to his hand. Okay, this might take a while. Not looking good. That is usually the win condition, because now he can just keep doing that until he gets enough psychic energy. Remus Ventanus can do 2 points of damage to him every turn though, so I can chip away at him. This could still work out. Void engagement and he damages me. With that Scorpion tank, I would have been able to attack him and just wipe him out with my ability, but he had a pair of Anktos, so he uses both of those to hit my Scorpion tank, and of course they get buried back in his deck. Okay, the good news is he used all his energy on that. He couldn't use the Athame Blade, so I can attack him this turn. And just keep the pressure going. And now I'm going to bring in Ancient Marcellus. Hit him for 3, and I should start shooting him every turn as well. But he had another Ashen Blow, so bye-bye to Marcellus. Theoretically, I can use Myatis Cruiser and Macragge's Honor together with my ability to finish him in 2 turns at this point. So I think I can win easily. Come on, drop Izukar Ore now. Oh no, it's Pentuthast. And Frontline Protection. Oh, that's gonna mess it up. Pentuthast Healing is gonna stop me from winning in 2 turns. So that means Pentuthast has to go. Let's actually start clearing out some of his stuff here. Again, I keep messing up the order in which I attack. I need to make sure I attack with Remus at the end. I was hoping Stellok would actually hit his apothecary guy instead, but he didn't. Now everyone has protection. That is very unfortunate. Alright, there's all that healing kicking in now. I should have just used Myatis Cruiser to finish off the apothecary. Let's do that now. It's just going to slow down how long it takes to win. I might still be able to pull this off. Interestingly enough, there's no point playing supply lines now because I've got no vehicles available in my deck. Okay, so my goal is to get him down to 7 health at the end of one of my turns, because in the following turns I can use Macragge's Honor and my ability to kill him. So here's what we're going to do. We attacked him with my ability. We're dropping Informant Network on him. So he's at 7 health plus 2. Just to make him think that I don't have a nice move to finish him off, we're just going to heal myself a little. And use Melgator to bounce the healer back to my hand. City of Lights, he's really trying to work on that big pool of psychic energy. And of course there's Izukar Ore again. And the bounce back to the hand. Unfortunately, it's over for him now. We're going to use Macragge's Honor to blast him and hit him down to 2 health. And then lastly comes Remus's ability. Oh, no, he realized what was coming and he quit. So that was an interesting match actually, because it shows you how even Magnus's little Athenian ore trick just couldn't compete with the constant stream of damage Remus can throw out with his ability. Okay, next up. Next up is Conrad Curtis. Alright, so we're up against Conrad Curtis, Handmade Fabric 5. I actually like these cards to start with, so I'm going to just accept them all as is. And against Conrad Curtis, you usually have to be aggressive in the early game. So, as it comes over to my turn, what I'm just going to be doing is playing Logos Lectora to draw a discount Marine. Perfect, there's Belaria's squad, and attack him. Usually against Curtis, my goal is to win before he becomes a Night Haunter. Now, he already got Mercy and Forgiveness, which is a very dangerous thing for him to have. He goes ahead and attacks me twice. That's good, I like that, it's taking down his health. Alrighty, so next we drop Manius Recon and use my ability to shoot him. I'm thinking of sitting on the defensible position unless to try and delay him if he becomes Night Haunter. We'll see. Alright, he used this turn to finish off the recon squad. That's fine, he wasn't attacking me, so I take that as a win. Let's bring in Captain Alcaeus now and just attack him again. Originally we were 5 points of health apart, currently we're 4 points of health apart. Okay, he brings in an annoying frontline troop. There's that 4-point health difference. So what I'm going to do here is actually bring Belaria's squad in. Use abandoned supplies. That's nice. There's a Melgator, which means I can use Melgator to bounce his guy back to his hand, and then lastly use my ability on him and attack him with my captain. So now I actually have more health than he does. I'm 2 points ahead. Oh, he brings in the Dreadnought to stop him from attacking. Alright. Let's use Defensible Position on the Dreadnought to stun it. And we're just going to keep the pressure going on him otherwise. Use my captain's ability to create more troops. I'll pull out the Magnus Recon Squad and just keep attacking. Talent for murder. He's burning that already. I guess he didn't want the cap. Oh, I see what he did. He's wiping out 3 of my units that way. Finishes off that guy. And that's it. He's not attacking me again because he is feeling he's a bit low on health. Let's bring in Captain Mysander, which is going to lower the attack on everything. And just hit him. So theoretically I can kill him next turn. There's a front line, which is annoying. But I think that's not enough. He hits me. But I've got Trajan Squad sitting in hand. Now he's nicely, conveniently outnumbered me. So we can use Trajan Squad to attack and destroy the frontline troop. Captain Mysander then attacks for 6 damage. My Warlord attacks for 2 damage. And the Retribution Strike goes in and finishes Conrad Curtis off. 2 turns before he becomes Night Hunter. Nice. And the final Primarch for this video is Horus Manus. So I was pretty happy with this. I've got cards for the early game, and then I've got my Macragge's Honor already in hand. Perfect. Let's go ahead and fight Horus. So he puts down a frontline troop. I'm going to respond by attacking that troop and playing abandoned supplies. Not bad at cheap supply lines, I'll take that. He's spending the turn giving that troop a buff, so it's now 2 attack, 5 health. In return, I can bring in Belaria's squad. That's that troop to 3 health, and let me just keep attacking it there. The next turn, he can either play a reasonably powerful troop or buff it. Nope, he goes for the reasonably powerful troop and attacks me. Alright, that's what I want to see. So what I'll be doing over here is using supply lines to draw a discount vehicle. There's my discount Dreadnought. Use Retribution Strike to take out his guy and draw another card from my deck. And then lastly, attack his troop before it starts buffing itself with Relentless. And I do want to try and take out Horus Manus before he turns into the Gorgon, so... not so great. There's his Sistar. But what I have ready to go is Trajan Squad, which can go and attack Sistar and still have 1 point of health left. And then I attack with my Warlord, triggering my Battle Honor, so I create a practical tactic. 6 energy turn, he hits my Warlord hard and wipes out my board presence. So I'm currently 15 points of health behind him. And he hits me. So this will be a good time to bring out the Whirlwind tank. Let's go ahead and drop the Whirlwind. And I'm starting to get low on health, so I'm no longer being aggressive. An Ekratrez, and he's going to give Ekratrez a boost there, isn't he? Okay. Alright, so next we're going to trigger the ability there, which takes out Terra Squad. We're going to drop Informant Network. We're going to use Logos Lectora to just buff my tank, make it more survivable. And lastly, take out Ekratrez. Okay, there's the healing beginning. Servo arm. He is quite low on cards though. Okay, and there's another troop. And he attacks me. 8 energy turn. Alright, what do we do here? We're going to use the Whirlwind's ability to wipe his board. We're going to bring in Captain Corvo and heal myself. That's better. The gap between us is closed down to 9. And I'm feeling comfortable enough with that to be able to attack him. So I've got 11 damage ready to come next turn. He brings in supply lines. What's he doing with that? Winnow the Weak. He hits the Whirlwind. I was hoping he'd hit Captain Corvo instead. Alright. Let's bring in Captain Lysander, which is going to buff Corvo. And then Corvo can attack with his new buff, and the gap between us is only 3 points. Nope, going up. The gap between us is 5 points. Ugh, Achlis Astra. Unfortunately for him, that's too little too late. That Macragge's Honor, which I was sitting on since the beginning, is going to go down very well here. So attack him with the captain, attack him with the other captain, and lastly, you know what, forget Macragge's Honor. Let's just use Ancient Marcellus. There we go. Alright, so hope you guys found this video to be interesting. I mean, it's quite rare that you see Remus Ventanus in play. Like, I've even faced him on the ladder only a handful of times. This deck is a very different one to the type I usually play with, but it just seems to work quite nicely. So let me know what you guys think. Try it out, give me your feedback, and I will hopefully be streaming tomorrow or Sunday. I haven't quite figured it out. Maybe both, ideally. We'll see. And yeah, so until then, bye for now everyone. Have fun and stay safe.